without you. Or semna mi pla puti mi go pass before long mi pla can sit down na talk na me long mi pla or leaders long animal issues and stop affecting country blom mi pla. Papa, you bless him Prime Minister blom mi pla. You bless him too, number two Prime Minister. All get ministers, all governors, all members, long Parliament, Speaker, one time Deputy Speaker, Assistant, na to Honorable, all headman of this country, all some long opposition. Papa, mi pla talk thank you to mas long bringing me pla come to this house, house where all get important talk is come up. Mi pla pray long all people blow me pla too. Time only sit down long one half only stop long and harim. One more big pla talk by come up or all by sit down long house blong all na look long television. Papa give me pla this pla bell long talk long true plus something. Na mi pla no can height him one plus something long and papa mi pla no have height lo you. Mi pla talk thank you Thomas lo this pla good pla bro you lo lives lo mi pla all get that time. You me say him Lord's prayer. Our Father who in heaven. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Do you have any petitions? Notices? Mr. Clark?
The Minister for Petroleum gives notice that he shall present a bill for an act to amend the Oil and Gas Act 1998. The Minister for Mining gives notice that he shall present a bill for an act to amend the Mining Act 1992.
Husky Minoga Toksawe, 45 minutes. Honorable Member Blonga, Pomyo.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question without notice goes to the Minister for Works. Minister for Works. Have you stop? When it comes back. Thank you, Minister.
Mirisim. Honorable Member Blonga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've got a question to put to our Tourism Minister, Honourable Emil Tamur. Mr. Speaker, it relates to Papua New Guinea's first ever tourism support concessional loan that was approved by the board of the World Bank in June of 2017, Mr. Speaker, to an amount of US $20 million. And it was called the Papua New Guinea Tourism Sector Development Project. That was designed to support infrastructure development, training, the planning and promotion, and also SME integration into the tourism sector economy, to be managed under the Tourism Promotion Authority, Mr. Speaker, and it was to be piloted in the two provinces of East New Britain and Milne Bay. Mr. Speaker, there's been numerous meetings. There's been 3 years that's lapsed, and my questions to the good minister: can you update this House and of course the people in the two relevant provinces on the status of this long overdue project, and what steps is the minister taking to make sure that this loan is not lost and this opportunity is not lost to people of Papua New Guinea? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Lo. Good question, Lo. Member Blo Alatau. In fact, yes, the loan from the World Bank is amount to 20 million for the two provinces. Converted to Kina, that's around 64 million, with 30 million plus that should have gone to each provinces. How the provinces were chosen, that was before my time, just to tell the House that might be thinking that I'm from East Britain and the loan was given to East Riverton. For the record, previous government made a decision because of the two provinces had high intake of tourists in terms of cruise ships and variety of sites, attraction in each provinces. That's why both provinces were chosen. But in regard to the question that's been raised by the member for Alatau, yes, numerous meetings have been going on since 2017, June 9, to be exact. And up until now, those meetings have been going on, and I'll have to get back at my technocrats. When I checked with them, they said it was because of the COVID-19 issue that we're having. But to my knowledge, in East Riverton, there's progress been going on. Two projects are about to kickstart in East Riverton, where there's a good working relationship between provincial government and the stakeholders, where now we're seeing two projects that will come into operation. We still working with our people in Alatau, especially Million Bay, how we are going to dispense the projects to various districts or to the province. But with the issue on there now, I'd like to ask the honorable member for Alatau that we have a meeting, sit down and sort out our issues, so we move forward in getting the funds available to Million Bay province. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member of the Middle Ramu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question without notice to the Minister for Agriculture and Livestock. It is to do with the CIC operations in especially the highlands areas and also coastal too. Concerning about this, as far as I am concerned, and the operation was going on for some time way back in 2015-16 and backwards, and we have been using that portion of the security system. And it is concerning about the freight security, which has been engaged by the CIC department or division, and helping us, the remote people, to try and get the coffee out of the remoteness of the country. So up to this time now, I haven't seen, because I've been in the district, I haven't seen anything such happening in the district. I want to know what is really happening. Do they have a board in place? Do they have the officers in place? Or what is happening? Because so much of these things was in the district, and we have been lifting through CIC's security system. Up to now, there is nothing. And I would like the minister concerned to, he can be able to give us some clearance, some guidance of that, so that we know what is happening for our future. Because our coffee, especially in the highlands, the coffee is the remote part where we go having this coffee system in the place. And now we are not bringing it to the cities to sell, and we can trade. So I want to ask him if there is, my question is, if the system is in place, it is not existing. Number two, do they have a funding for this security system so that they can go out and use that system to bring in the productions that we have in the remote areas to our districts, from the district down to the places like Mount Hagen and Goroka and this sort of place, because that's a trade point where we bring the coffee from the remoteness to these places. So I just want to ask if you can be able to give us this so that we know where we are now to get these things going. So I just want to ask him if he can be able to give us some information on this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you. Mitok, thank you, Lord. Member of the Middle Ramulong. Good luck question, ma'am. At the same time, first question by me on the floor since me come up minister. Thank you too. So, you must ask him plenty question come, please. Thank you. Answer him question long. Member of Middle Ramu. Member, your district is one of the districts that is very isolated in terms of road now. transportation, like small cash crop, especially coffee and cocoa and all these other crops out. And I actually did have some line long district Blayu. They came into my office some time ago, and they told me the sad story. It takes about 8 hours or 6 hours from Medang to go to at least to reach close to Middle Ramu to the Ramu River, and then another 8 hours by boat or by canoe down Middle Ramu River. Ramu River, sorry. Just as well, I also traveled to West New Britain over the weekend. Now, me too, me realize in Planty Hub, West New Britain too, and Planty Hub no got road access. Online walk coffee, and I walk cacao, Planty man stuff. And they have produced out there, which the road has not reached them. So before me answer the question, I me appeal too long. Minister road, you meet talk connect PNG, let's also connect those places that's really producing cash crops to bring out. They're really having problems bringing the cash crop out. And as we talk as much about agriculture being one of the priorities of us, now you meet talk plenty, but let's connect these places that's growing cash crops. And they are having difficulties bringing those cash crops out. And there are still places like, we are embarking on, example, you meet talk plenty long, different commodities like coffee and even cocoa to meet certain target to improve the, and produce more cocoa, more coffee. There are people out in the rural sectors, they are really actually growing it. But they're giving up because there is no roads connecting them. We need to look at these areas, and while we are connecting many roads in Mosby and other places, let's connect the people where there is real farmers, where they are producing these our cash crops, and they're having difficulties bringing these cash crops out. Let me answer the question, please. First question, let me answer them good. Thank you. Look behind him, question below you. Remember, in the freight subsidy, actually, 2020 budget, me checking, but you know that allocation inside the freight subsidy. But I have had conversation with Minister for National Planning already. I also me talk one time long. Suppose he got supplementary budget, he got budget, they must consider freight subsidy. Because Emto Sol one blahabways I help him all farmers plan. In the past, before 2020 budget, 2019, 2018, even he got freight subsidy that was packed with its commodities, like with cocoa, with coffee, and that's why they were able to roll this program out. Subsidize him, freight, bring him, come outside main market areas. But 2020 budget, you know that money packed on them all respective commodity boards, supporting you now. But look, CIC is there to assist. I have been talking to online look out if CIC go past the CIC, and we will look into your district below you, plenty hub area below area too. We will try our best to assist as much as we can, and I've already started my communication with Minister of National Planning on how we can help those districts. Area, supporting or bring him out cash crops roll come and market. Thank you.
Siya by Iluk Sabel or Honorable Member of Pomio, Minister Kamapinis, or Honorable Member of Pomio, you can ask him.
Thank you, Minister Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Works and the Minister's Transport and Planning to take note, please. The Minister, when responding to questions last week, made mention about the Link PNG Road Network Program, and I commend the Marat government for this important initiative. Among the Link PNG Road Network Program, he mentioned about the New Britain Highway as one of the important roads that will be part of this arrangement. Mr. Speaker, when considering or discussing New Britain Highway, there are two routes that is to be made clear to us. The first route, Mr. Speaker, begins from Kokopo Secondary School, generally through Gazelle District, and connect four ward councils of the Central Indian Pomio to the north and to Talasi Open Electorate in the Western Britain Province. The second route, Mr. Speaker, begins from Simpson Harbour, that's in Rabaul District, to Kokopo Secondary School in Kokopo District, to Waragoi, Sinivit LLG, that's in Pomio District, and connects the 5 local level government, the Pomio District, that's about to the Kendron Cluster District of Western Britain and Amio Kimber Road. And that is also considered as a South Coast Economic Corridor in the Papua New Guinea Development Strategic Plan 2010 to 2030. This is an important corridor. It includes a disaster-prone area of between Kokopo to Rabaul, and also has up to 95 to 96% of our people in Pomio district along this area. It has rightfully said by the Minister of Agriculture. There's a lot of people there producing cash crops, logging industries, especially logging and other stuff there. And I believe this has to be supported. Mr. Speaker, my question is, firstly, can the Minister give an undertaking to this floor when considering the Link PNG program, if consideration of priority can be given to this particular corridor? That's the corridor number 2, the South Coast corridor that connects all these provinces, from Rabaul to Kokopo, right through Pomio, to Cannon Closter, and to Kimber. This is an important corridor because it's specified and mandated under the PNG DSP 2030. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, can the Department of Works use some of the funds currently made available now in the 2020 budget for the Kokopo to Rabaul, Kokopo to Pomio Road? If some of the funds can be made available for the full feasibility of this particular road, so that we can come up with a full design and scope that includes up to 30 or so bridges along this area as well. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, this year marks the 10 years, the first 10 years of the implementation of the PNG Development Strategic Plan. Is the department doing some kind of analysis on the implementation and the performance to date with regard to the, especially the 10 economic corridors that is specified in the PNG DSP 2030? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister of Works.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pastor Trumi, thank you, Lord. Honourable Member Pomio asking this very important question. The question me one question where plenty of leaders he asking. Kind of some today, the morning and me, she don't the governor of West New Britain that talk the same issue. These roads are very, very important. And so, the Department of Works is looking more some policy and Mr. Pinis already approved by Cabinet. But look long importance for road through the population, people is stop where agriculture, forestry, one more cash cross by grow, one more bolga that did so. Mibla Department of Works by sit down the leaders who said by be affected by this very important government policy, and by me sit down one the department and by me look law realigning most old Silla road, because we must build these roads to where our people are. We are not going to build roads for the sake of building roads. We will build roads to where our people are, whereby me looking at agriculture sector by come up with someone, forestry stuff when I kind of same. So, remember me, like him by this afternoon or early tomorrow morning, midnight and breakfast. Want them secretary below works, now you can sit down. Want them governor, na all members belong East na West New Britain. So was you like come, you can breakfast, 8 o'clock in the morning, like always. Or sample up, buy me coffee, and me talk this issue. You mean not gonna waste him time? You must talk about the issue, because when it comes to planning, no good beyond by me talk was more, talk savena alignment below road in Australia. So I hope to see you all at Airways tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock or 7:30, in fact. Thank you. Wake up.
Honourable Member of Rabaul.
Mr. Speaker, my question is directed to the Minister for Mining. And I ask that the Minister for State-Owned Enterprise will take note. Rabaul has enough geothermal resources, warrant the establishment of a geothermal power station that would supply the whole of East New Britain province. Unfortunately, our efforts to bring in foreign investors were thwarted by the fact that there is not in existence in Papua New Guinea a geothermal resource development policy. And I understand, Mr. Speaker, that some 2 or 3 years ago, the New Zealand government offered to fund the drawing up of a geothermal power development policy for Papua New Guinea. I am reliably informed that this policy is in draft form, but I don't know why it hasn't seen the floor of Parliament. So I'm asking the Minister for Mining, when does he think this policy, this geothermal resource development policy, would see this floor of Parliament to be tabled? First, it has to go to NEC, of course, but I believe there would be an act that follows the policy, that comes with the policy. So when will that be? Can the Minister for Mining give us an estimate as to when the geothermal power bill would be presented on the floor of this Parliament? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister of Mining.
Logutla, Mr. Speaker, thank you, Logutla Kosten, Member of Rabaul. In 2016, New Zealand government funded this plan. The Minupla policy by Kamapla Papua New Guinea. Mipla working finish, draft me ready. Me like put in this plan, it come inside law. Nupla Mining Act. That's all me looking necessity law this plan. So inside law, August session, but me bring him this last submission, he come inside. I'm ready finish. Thank you, Logutla Kosten. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member of Bogia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question without notice goes to the Minister for Justice and Attorney General and the Deputy Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, in the August session of Parliament in 2019, I asked this question on behalf of our village court magistrates, peace officers, village court clerks, land mediators, allowances. Mr. Speaker, the Minister assured me that as soon as I present the list of candidates from my district who are not on the government payroll, they will be taken care of. Mr. Speaker, to date, my hard-working village court magistrates, peace officers, clerks, and land mediators are still without pay. And I know it goes to most of the members in Parliament in their districts as well. So, Mr. Speaker, can the Minister responsible please give us some information what's happening with this regard? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Bogia, my good friend, for returning our attention to this very important part of our justice system, the system that is closest to our people, the system that is frontline and always responds to dispute resolution needs in our communities. And when I did give assurance to the Honourable Member, Mr. Speaker, I was concerned about the officials from Bogia because of the leaders' interest and concern. But I want to take the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of government, to acknowledge 18,480 officials, village court officials, that's magistrates and peace officers and recorders throughout our country who are servicing our people through the village court system. And since it is important, Mr. Speaker, to note that the village court system is as old as our country. It was established in 1975. And since then, there's been, initially there's been the responsibility of national government to manage the system for us. But due to policy changes, especially the 1995 policy shift under the organic law on provincial and local level governments, which decentralized some of the important functions to the village courts, of the village courts to our provinces in the sub-national level. And the problems began to surface mainly as to how we administer the system, how we resource them and support them. But I want to fast forward to answer the leader's question, and also assure the Honorable House that there will be a ministerial statement coming to address the issues that the village court system presents to us and how we intend to resolve them. But so that the member is assured, we know that right now, as a result of good work, important work that has been taking place in my department and the provinces, we now know that out of the 18,480, Medan province has 93 village courts established and formally gazetted. We also know, Mr. Speaker, that there's 1,023 village court officials in Medan province. Of that 1,023, Bogia has 18 village courts that are recorded and a total of 198 officials. Mr. Speaker, at the time when I had discussions with the Honorable Leader, I did highlight that over the last 10 years since NEC decided to do something about bringing back this important work to Justice Department from the provinces, we were able to set out a database and begin to work towards enlisting properly each and every village court official in the country. But in that process, Mr. Speaker, we found out that there's been a budget shortfall for the last 10 years. Every year, there's not been sufficient funding to deal with the issue of outstanding village court officials' payments. There was also the issue of not all 11 officials. In a village court, there are 11 officials that ought to be on the government's payroll. We discovered that not all 11 officials were on the payroll, Mr. Speaker. So as of 2019, a total of 54 million was outstanding and payable that we are able to determine. And the good news, Mr. Speaker, is that the 2019-2020 budget, in which the Marat Stephen government has made a commitment to deal with outstanding arrears, including pays, salaries that are payable to our officials. A total of 10 million has been allocated. 10 million has been allocated, and that is still not sufficient. But how we intend to approach this, Mr. Speaker, is to do a phased payment of the debts and arrears that are outstanding. Of that 10 million, we are able to now deal with the first phase, which is the payment of peace officers per village court throughout the country. Mr. Speaker, I will be asking the Honorable Member for Bogia to sit with me and this time identify which of the officials, especially the peace officers, we can be able to target. Our approach will be that in the next 2 years, with the commitment from Treasury, we will be able to reduce or deal with payoff outstanding payments. This is over and above those officials that we are now able, through our processes, recognize and put on the payroll. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member of Namatanai.
Thank you, Speaker. Long all good people blomi lo Namatanai. Question blomi go long Defense Minister. Na milaikim police na finance lo take note. Concern blomita solem long all security forces blomi lo all borders. There seem to be some kind of confusion where allowance I buy me go long all. I got different kind rate lo police na I got different kind rate lo defense. Police I kisim close lo 200 kina lo one per day. Or 95 kina, but why me talk police minister must come inside too. Lo harim. Na defense, me believe only gives him 45 kina lo one per day. Asking Blomita Solem Mosem, can we explain the Kamla House or public too by Kila Longen? Or list play rate, you play calculating also on them. So online we start establish border by no creating confusion. Na start run away or losing will walk belong all na responsibility belong because only confused. Why one security forces get paid X amount, the other security forces gets paid X amount. Now you know that explanation within those organizations will explain him good. Now breakdown belong or allowance he come also on them. So asking belong the legal defense, Minister Tabos, you can explain good law house and more importantly, hopefully the public by Harim na Police Minister will take note long end. Thank you.
Honourable Minister of Defence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, good question. Member Namatanai ask him. Defence Force Blomipla, I mean, normal duty blongolo, look at him border Blomipla. Na allowance blongol, normal allowance, more section blongan, more section 45 kina, but the time we got state of emergency, the time only policy go inside, and only got own way blow. All of pay allowance blow also. This lab you can talk, in police minister yeti explaining, but defense force personal blomibla and walk long all. Lo stop lo border na look at border blomibla, normal allowance blow all and all one bell na, and all section. So allowance blow and 45 kina, now only one bell. Lo kisim desla, and duty blow lo defending border blomibla. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You got point of order, one point of order blow you? Remember?
Defense Minister, this 45 kina ta sol, ikarmapi accommodation na kai o M45 kina ta sol looks away long deployment long all.
Sorry,
thank you.
Point of order, supplementary.
Point of order because me no kisim good breakdown lo 45 kina when me been ask him long end. Thank you.
Normal Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Lord. Supplementary blame Ken. For that blow election, accommodation blow get normal arrangement blow list but the allowance blow kai. So the Islam talking got extra one blow what governments pay more working duty blow border. The Islamantal section, but pay blow all kisim but the allowance to solo all can solo border. But I'll go back and like him good clear information, let him make him good now. We can explain him tomorrow, Ken. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Governor Blonga, Oro Province.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My series of questions are to the Minister for Forests, with the Prime Minister to take note, Minister for Environment to take note, Minister for Agriculture and Lands to take note. Minister of Forests, my first question is in relation to an undertaking made in 2018 by the former Prime Minister that all round log exports would cease this year. I'm curious as to what your ministry's position is in this regards. Secondly, we have all heard about the SABL report, which cost the taxpayers of this country 15 million kina, and to date has not progressed beyond having been tabled here. I think possibly in the same year. I may be corrected. What is your ministry doing in regards to this report, the recommendations that it made? Finally, the 10th of February, I held a meeting with yourself and your managing director in your office to discuss forestry issues in my province, in particular in relation to two current projects which I believe are illegal, and I said so and stated so and provided the information accordingly, and two projects which we have ended or stopped because, again, the processes were circumvented. Processes involving all those ministries that I just mentioned, with the exception of the Prime Minister's office. Minister, to date, I have not received a response from your managing director in regards to these projects and the promise that he made that he would inform us and that his office would fly to Oro to inspect, work with us. None of that has eventuated. He has not responded to any of our emails, any of our letters, etc., etc. It's no way to treat the people of my province in regards to their concerns. Minister, I am particularly concerned that in the areas of Musa and Collingwood Bay, there are barges that are arriving there when we have not yet resolved this issue. When the landowners from that area are anxious because of previous activities which have polluted their waterways, caused destruction to their river systems, trespassing on their traditional land, I visited these areas and made an undertaking that we would resolve these issues. Nothing has happened since then. Minister, what are you going to do about this? Finally, my question in relation to an undertaking made by our Prime Minister, which I welcome, that forestry resources would be a business that must go to Papua New Guineans. It's not rocket science. In my province, we have a business arm that is ready to be engaged in this activity. We best know who our landowners are and what territories they own, what resources come under them, what areas we should not log and destroy, how to manage our forests in such a way that it is sustainable development and not just rampant clear cutting of anything and everything, as seems to be the case. So will your ministry be progressing this vision of our Prime Minister? Thank you very much.
Honourable Minister of Forestry.
Thank you through you, Speaker. Thank you through all good questions. All good pertaining all questions for Governor Blong Oro. Now also 1 year ago finish, but Minoximambla ask him, and first time Minoxim ask him. Now I think me answer him. There's a question for you. Governor Blong Oro. Time this government, Marat Steven government Camilo 2019. Now also previous government Domipla. Only level been stopped, been 2018 only been talk out, not to clear us long run look export by stop law 2018. Law 2018 only been talk by 2020 by run lock export by stop. Name long 2018 come long year 2020, binigat some law come up, or some amending some law, all some law come up, name long all industries want the government, long work relay going up long this run log and stop, law 2020. Time nubla government coming long 2019, now 2019 too, Prime Minister want the government long enemy. Talk strong long run lock must stop. But work come up. So now me play work relay, me play work start talk go come long. Must work relay going up long 2025. It's rookie this time 2020 going up 2025. Me play need to put him downstream processing. All napla all amendments long all run lock. Now all some law you must send before long make him industry yamamas time you black 2025 by run log he can stop.
You make that point of order. Honourable Governor, point of order, you.
Good luck through also minister like working industry hamamas. Ina me make him undertaking also member working all papa ground hamamas too or?
Honourable Minister.
Like story lyric na by hinabi mo the question you ask him so I think Mr. Lonamel lo story, so you let me finish more the story, Pastor. Time mibla tok toleran lok na government tui tok strong tu lo give him license ko pe kalau papa ground all this la ba mi kam longen osem na mi tok time mibla look him display mi short pla time na ino nablo work mibla start lo come up quantum awesome bla law so 2020 by stop him run lok pa ino nam come up. But me start lo put him all paper ko pinis lo NEC na me play tok long easy 30% long 1 year go enable 2025 by 100% 50% downstream processing. It must come up na export lo lock because people also need lo considering revenue that come into country. Me play got shown timber export na me play got run lock export. So we need to consider revenue stream that come into this country. Forest sector is one sector that bring more revenue into this country. That's why we need to talk na straight him na look scale him good past them. That's why we work lo this plan now. Come lo number 2 ask him lo you lo SL all SABL reports. And by me, fully aware of this plan. By me kissing long, managing director or report if you go stop lo when I stop na I mean come up long parliament. Could ask him long and by me check him na report lo tomorrow. Number 3 ask him long 10th February me pla. Want the managing director blow na you me sit down na talk. After lo display talk me bla like try no move me at like oro because I mean no first time you raise him before yet time predecessor blow me to stop you continue lo talk osem na me like go down na iluru long what him as why stop we me must bring him lo province too but after lo display COVID-19 I me come inside me stop me bla lo move so me bla no move. You understand him too, some COVID-19 I'm stopping all the work. Economy, all the something I'm stop so. I think this plan by you barely see law, this la hap. That's why not today you know one bla respond. MD no not give me respond time in the whole province. So phone calls na email by you and me you know respond because law this plan. So after law this plan parliament sitting Pamitla magim time na pamitla golo oro. Pamitla golo oro na. Pamitla tok. Number 4. All projects is a come lo province. Lo participation lo lenonas provincial government. Lo participate na all display. Emba mi blama sit down. Normally in Papa Ground is a go pass. Lo participate. But lo provincial government lo come in na, district government lo come in. Display him something that me play need lo sit down na talk. How me play make him display work. Also, we must give him some amendment come long, parliament long, amend him so that provincial government must go inside, district government must go inside lo participate lo all forest, involvement lo forestry. That's why this la government me adamant na talk strong long. Provincial government na district government must go inside lo forestry. That's why we work long all amendments and all kind of things. We plan not long. Just 2 years ago ahead now, make you work this way, we can do that. So we play work.
You make another point of order long. You governor?
Me like him correction ta solo hensado sem. Papua New Guinea got triple level of government ta sol. Me play got national government, provincial government and local level government. Mama law ino look sabe or district government so enough you me. Make him clear and top long. Hence, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you. Through law forest, law LEDL will go long. DDAs, all district authorities. Provincial authorities, LEDLs, you don't have go. That's why me talk them all some amendments me play need to bring him law flow. La amend him so that including provincial government to come in so you can see benefit long forestry. Now yet display me no stop. That's why I'm all something me play need to straight him.
You got another point of order?
Mr. Speaker, just correction tasogolo minister. I need long logging marketing agreements. Lo Sambla Pumplalo district, lo West Britain, 10 kina per cubic meter, so I go to provincial government, so only do benefit and need long current arrangements. Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
All this all 10% na ordinary infrastructure grant all call him BDP all funds. I'm all funds na but provincial government only manage him. Like provincial administrator, me chairman na all one all lend on us, got all representatives.
Yes, you are.
You got another point of order again, Honourable
No, I'm
Governor?
good lot. Correct him all some lots of Toka. Said got heavy. Look at heavy. Minister, thank you through law responses by you. Speaker, with due respect, Minister, this law levies. Planti province no sakisim. Me can talk him you. Province plan me plan oxim one la toya lots la levies lots la project now missing out him lo ene. Minister also go away. Or no sakam lo me playa. So me like just correct him sla. You must go back now audit him sla ministry blow you. Na passing law MD blow you. Suppose I'm stable private sector all sekim and finish. Acknowledgement letter I'm important. Suppose one la man right come lo and client lo and I must acknowledge him. I must talk this situation he come up or say na me play no respond to you. But to remain silent. As a managing director, as a CEO of an organization, it's unacceptable. Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Governor. Display issues flow BDP account na money go to provincial government, all the logging companies in the provinces, those who produce logs in the provincial forest style province lang and by problemas kisim. Haven't got issues. But now you talk to me also by me try and check him over the display. Na by me bring him some report tomorrow. But me like talk him house appeal or house 2 also. Logging sector and 1 plus sector 2 also bring him change along all very remote isolated people. All man government in now look road go. All forestry karim road on site. All industry karim road on site. All people build in all schools, all bridges. So, you me all leaders, you me look in all logging companies like come inside. Every good fellow, you sit down. Want them all learn on us, now help him all learn on us. You go come to office so that you me learn him. All investors come in, industry come in. Now work a good blood deal where all he can provide him servicing all of people too. Provincial government, you know, not bring him road, you go all display line walking road. You go now, you time up agreement want them also, you get those roads and then you maintain them for the people use. Or people can use him display excessive market along market. Have all kind of something. Also reforestation, plenty agreement, plenty all permits, but only kiss him long, plan him all the way, but then it is not happening too. So I work with you governor not to the district. All this long talk want them all industries, investors. If they cannot help you, you come to the office. We can sit down. So you go back and talk about people long, plan him all the way. So these are some of the things that you can bring him, all servicing all of people. So when the man comes inside, when the industry comes inside, please work with them so that they must deliver him goods and servicing all of people too. One time display, thank you too.
You may get one of the supplementary, Honourable Member of Lopangia, Yellow Pangia.
Thank you, Speaker. You know supplementary, me no sing out no supplementary. Me like reserve him right, me ask him question. Thank you, true.
Sorry.
You can ask him supplementary past time.
Supplementary, Honourable Member of Abunti Dagigi.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you. Me supplementary may did on the question where Governor will already ask you like him. Me plan understand of some forestry making plenty work inside the country or in the name of agriculture. Minister, di believe you sawi tu na misawi. Plan dia forestry work ko patno agro ko sa work come up. Plan giran oli bagarapim. And plan dia forestry company now all operate now also be animal DY. One and a half people from the DY send up plan kana sa kuila all be animal hub. Even a road too, all in a road according to plan work sikat langem. All is working on road 6 second about be animal DY. One half DY go road go. One half DY no go the more lucid. So yes, only going to name the development, but all this working good development work too. I'm not handing me talking here this morning to pay my sensitive good plan. Number two, ask him, didn't we mila put the here to a mosem? Plan the all operators now are selling me all license on Blahab. But do our surprise, all extensive license can not have area will not seem before Trump too. How no without notice from Mipla? Now you talk of some provincial government, the district must look law too. Well, initially, they will start slow work. All in the consult the Mipla and the district too. Even the province too. With provincial forest management committee, plan people already they work the province. They have never gone down to the province. I mean districts. Even the project area too. All in the Sawi too. All government making paper work, signing that in paper. All to us agree langam. Which me must talk through here. It happened in the district from me. Me at Minasawi, even me in Lebanon too. I don't know what's happening. Now also into the extension with Minasawi langam too. So minister, you must clarify this too. And I'll ask him to, or I'll ask him, maybe ask him, Minister, or some LLD money, I mean, I want a policy plan, but in be explaining, we said, all entitled, or sell it entitled ship. Currently, the look of me, last 10 million, plus skill him longer a man. One policy in forestry, will use him the skill him money. Thank you.
Honorable Minister of Forestry.
Well, thank you long. Supplementary ask him. He got all permits, all specific permits where MSA require him about all forms by you fill him or all process by you go through and by you got 22 plus process, 35 plus process, 32 plus process. So agriculture or reforestation or you got all kinds of road where all investors is apply long end. All permits like is 1-1. All FMA or FCA. All road line TA, all this like a number of only say Kisim. Time only Kisim, plenty investors, only Kisim no name belong agriculture, but some of them only no say he making work for agriculture. Cacao all na planning, vanilla all na planning, oil palm all na planning. Some law is a planning oil palm. Display me will come up. Me play is we got. Check, this will come up every 5 years. Every 5 years, only go around looking all officer, looking or some display license only exists like name, but only not make him. Only say only back license. Only say only back permit, FCA or FMA, all display only say make him. So, plenty belong. Mipla, he will make him this black all investors he will make him this black. Come up. Now time this nupla government come in, want a nupla strong bla. Talk law downstream processing, stop him run log export. All nupla policy will come in. Mipla will time up all this bla. All process bla agriculture. You like planning cacao, you must plan him cacao. So this bla me will work long end. As a meet of Peninsula first place. Number two, ask him you all projects all man is away go down na talk one them all. And we got all man because only not talk one them all man na come and paperwork. And all PFMSC or line law province all forest officers law provinces have work recommendation. All the work sorry come na employee recommend him. Or recommend him come na employee give him approval. Me plan na say give him approval nothing. Time all this law paper, you know, come on.
You got point of order, Honorable Member Abundi, point of order, you.
Thank you, Minister. Local explanation, you. Me at Mr. Grand Plan time, but some no project will play from me. Only go down around the Minasawi to no line from the place to Nasawi. Thank you.
Okay, Minister.
You will talk to us, I'm good law. You talk us, you know, stop not to learn on us to some learn on us, you know, say. Consulted before also something so. Pamitra and law. Copy of management at total display. come down lo LDL. LDL he got plenty districts. Ino ampun di dregi atasol o ino telehomin tasol. He got plenty so 5 million or 10 million igolo LDL o kami sa lo LDL. You make him 500,000 each so. Kind of same probably plenty by left. Plenty by stop again. Some of them must wait can long all forest to make more money can. You know, 20, 30 million come now by using money now straight. I'm saying slow to mass. COVID, he make him economy blah blah blah. And we go down, all in look, all industry long, kissing money, hurry up na give me blah too. They are affected right now because of COVID. So, me like make him this black deal of law. You said district play you or province play you got logging, but you know Kishim. I think probably next time some LDL will come in by you Kishim. So all districts, that's all. Provincial government no. Provinces no. So but we must bring him amendment, amend him. Provincial government must kiss him LDL too. And money by short. But at least you may not give money to provincial government by governance by Dr. Plati. So I think this play me finish him sambla ask him na sambla all explanation for me. Thank you.
Honorable Member of Yalibu Pangia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And, thank you, Trullo, giving me time to ask him some question. Question blomigo lo treasurer. Lo good statement plan lo last Friday. The economic update I mean give him lo respond lo COVID-19. I mean like so me lo way forward lo economic recovery lo country tas on meeting and me fall short lick. So by me asking some simple questions lo me respond so that you can you got clarity lo house na lo country where as an economy are we traveling. Mr. Speaker, lo talk blame me talk also revenue estimates blame me by go down by 2.2 billion kina. Now first question blame me related to this la. Now two plan the saweman to such advising mem lo IMF na World Bank na ADB na plan the app. Only talk also economy blame me by it go down. Only estimating more than 3.8% negative growth. Lo 2020. Now there is a talk that the growth for 2019 then we go down to close to 1 to 2%. So you may look at most of over the last 12 to 13 months, Treasury economy me go close to 5 to 6%, then we go down lick. So me like sawe also one kind plan Treasury cut, lo grabbing back this pla economy me so that this our plan demand. I think every business in the country, only Rosin plan the workman Merilo country me. Every business in the country, including big and small. And mean also plan the Papua New Guineans me. Only no got work, only no got pay, no got takai lo table blow family blow. So how na ba me crap in this economy back? What are your plans? Suppose you no got road lo happy economy revenue blow me. You totok lo ba you cut him some expenditure lo budget blow you lo 2020. Can you give us an explanation which cuts are you going to give? One of all non-priority areas blow you will cut him lo save him this la $2.2 billion lo you can balance him budget blow you. And number 2 question. Number 3 question blow me go lo debt levels. Lo 2020 budget you talk also by you I think close to by you some 850 million by domestic financing. That's all over the last few months, Mr. Speaker. Treasurer, you had to go out one time central bank. Now ask him online lo super funds one time, online lo banks lo buying plan deal this la bond use at Totok land. I think close to 2 billion. You approve him this la mark lo 850 million this la parliament you approve him loan. So one time by you come back lo parliament, lo you can talk all right lo this la borrowing blow you. Because you approve him mark parliament you authorizing you. Now two one time straight also member blah to talk before one time by you put him this la final outcomes blow accounts blow 2019 Now you talk also, you not trust him all figures but treasury officials, Mr. Speaker. People like him, you talk so side, figure blue side straight, you trust him. All consultant or all advisors blue email, all World Bank, IMF, no line or treasury workman Mary blue email, online blue email or Bank of Papua New Guinea where only got loan or power or working all this work blue email. Lord Desler, in relation to that, can you give this House a guarantee that by Unanablo Brukim Desla Physical Responsibility Act, you adjust him land? You talk also by you not borrowing money, now you adjust him from 30% all the way to almost over 40%. Can you reassure this House that you will not breach the Physical Responsibility Act?
We got point of order. Honorable Prime Minister.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. The adjustment, the member for Yalabu Pangia is incorrect. The Treasurer didn't adjust from 30% to 40%. I think his memory has failed him. He was the one who adjusted from 30% to 35%. And he breached in his time as Prime Minister under his words, completely breached. Beyond 35%, we had to make this adjustment. We brought all the numbers on the table, and our amendment raised it from 35% to 40%. Or 45%, I beg your pardon. So, the member for Yalu Pangia needs to, I know it's a very important question for public debate and consumption he's raising, but his facts must be correct. I remind him that the Treasurer didn't do it from 30% to 40%.
Thank you, True. Me amaslo correction also Prime Minister give him na also Finance Minister blow me long time. So I'm probably this low figure. I'm probably this low figure. So I'm yet somewhere where me go wrong, and me go right too. So me pull him debate go, but I'm back same time lick. So you me learn lo this lab. Na me like talk also more. I think me agree with them figure blend. Abrusi me go lo 45% them talk. So in a treasurer blend talking this blah house in the country, also by you na burgim this law. Why me asking you this blah question? Because you work logo at the world. Ask him more borrowing go yet. Make him sure you like financing this budget financing blow 2019 supplementary in 2027 billion kina plus you seek him financing land. You must talk Sawel or country also by you na burgim this law. This law by me how much true law you. Number two, me like I'm a master you also you talk also you go borrow him law IMF 0%. You want to fit man straight. Tasol me like Sawe, na country like Sawe, one em kind of narble conditional legat lo this loan. Me plus Sawe lo structural adjustment program, IMF sa karamigam lo one country. IMF you know got one proud record. Lo one play rescue, lo one play economy, lo one play country, lo this play world. So please talk to our parliament also. One of them narrow conditions established in this loan. Nungut only tightening position below you tasol na you must interest rate nothing. So you talk to our this parliament. Number three, me like ask him treasurer, can he reassure this house that him and his officials and his advisors will not push for a devaluation of our currency, which will bring hardship to our people. Because price block is something big on top. Plenty you know got work now. You reassure him this house also government blow you. Want them treasurer you yet but you don't have devalue him. This like currency blow you milo country. Number three, number four land me like talk also. Plenty business. Especially your legal business you talk also GST tax blow by 2%. Can you confirm again? This like you on top 10%? Or 2% nothing, you forgive him. That's la profit tax you talk land. You talk 2% GST to all our small business, and that's a welcome initiative. But can you confirm 2% one-off that's all? So you make a relieve him, plan the old man who said working money now, like this like COVID, the plan the kind heavy economy, blow you may go through land. Na two me like Sawels and one kind program treasurer got. Lo try lo lift him up employment inside the country where Now economy working na plenty Papua New Guineans are out of a job. Plenty project you go stop, plenty business you go stop. The plenty Papua New Guineans. What is your initiative that you are going to give to our country and relieve? Me looking plenty relief law. COVID is stop inside. Me platu like him the audit. You plus our promised land. Tasolem mora dem narabla totok. But employment of our citizens. What is your plan and what are the programs that you are putting in place for our citizens? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister of the Treasury.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the former Prime Minister for his very long-winded series of questions where I think the expectations is that this government and this Treasury will resolve all of them in our first 12 months in office. Mr. Speaker, I think I noted down about 10 questions, and I'll try to answer some of most of those. But the ones that I can't, I might ask the former Prime Minister to shoot me some formal queries, and I'll respond to those, especially the ones as to what plans, his last or 10th question, what plans this government has to lift employment. That's a very broad question that requires a very detailed response. But as he alluded to in his questions, maybe that's for another time. But coming back to his main queries, Mr. Speaker, can I firstly correct the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, on some of the numbers with which he had mentioned here in the House this morning. First of all, in relation to the loss of revenues as a result of this pandemic, the number is 2.222 billion kina in revenues, so 2,222. That's sort of right, the numbers he gave, but the one I've just given is the correct one. In relation to a negative growth of 3.8%, can I just correct the former Prime Minister? At no time did I mention that that would be the negative growth as a result of this C-19. In fact, Mr. Speaker, during the economic modelling by the IMF, in conjunction with the Bank of Papua New Guinea, and of course monitored by the Australian Treasury and agencies such as NRI, they provided two scenarios, and we need to be very, very clear here and understand that there are two scenarios when they were completing their economic modelling. The first one, they called it a contained scenario, defined by no PNG cases, but exports do fall due to less global demand for resources, and defined as imports dropping that will lead to reductions in especially transport and retail activities. That's the first scenario, which they call it contained. The second scenario, which they call it uncontained scenario, that is defined where we have cases in PNG with severity determined by the infection rate that prevents workers from now going or returning to work. So let's come back to the contained scenario, Mr. Speaker, where I believe we find ourselves in at this point in time in Papua New Guinea, and the economic modelling breaks that up again into another three scenarios, or I'll call them options. One, mild, the second option, medium, and the third, severe. I believe in Papua New Guinea we fall in the category of medium scenario or medium option. And again, I believe that's the case because the definition of that is that we have 4 months of slowdown, that is from February, starting in February and going up to and including May. And Mr. Speaker, coming back now to the point of negative growth projections, in that scenario, Mr. Speaker, the IMF modelling clearly states that real GDP growth will reduce to 3 times the amount the former Prime Minister alluded to. It's actually not 3.8%, but it's negative 9.1%. And that's down from 2%, which we had projected in our budget. Mr. Speaker, I'll now jump to his query on whether I can guarantee that our debt control laws, the Fiscal Responsibility Act, will not be breached. Mr. Speaker, I believe at this point in time, based on the information before me and the economic circumstances we face in our country, I would be happy to give that assurance and that guarantee, unlike, of course, the government of the former Prime Minister that has breached that law already. And I'm quite confident in giving that guarantee simply because as a result of those very detailed economic modelling within the contained scenario medium option, the effect on our debt control laws or our debt to GDP numbers, we will drop from currently and newly assessed number of 40.8%, up to 43.5%. And Mr. Speaker, as you can see, that's below the 45% that's allowed by the Fiscal Responsibility Act. And just for the information of the former Prime Minister, who I understand is also an accountant and very good with numbers, that 43.5% was calculated by the IMF using their calculations of our total sovereign loan at this point, sitting at 36.2 billion, and using our total GDP now estimated at 83.2 billion. Divide those two figures and we come up with 43.5. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, just to clarify and correct the former Prime Minister on some numbers. Moving through to his first question, his second question, budget cuts. Where do we intend to cut the budget to save the 2.2 billion kina? I'll touch that one first, Mr. Speaker. During a very detailed submission to the NEC, Mr. Speaker, Treasury had recommended to the Cabinet that with budget savings, which I had announced last week of about 715 million so far, that's where we're tracking, we would look first at our operating budget, Mr. Speaker. We will look first at our operating budget, and for those that are following, this year's budget, Mr. Speaker, in our expenditure plan of 18.7 billion, our operating budget currently sits at 10.29 billion kina. And that's made up of, and it's very important that we explain this, Mr. Speaker, that's made up of personal emoluments at 5.6 billion kina and goods and services at 4.67 billion. So if we're looking for budget cuts, then the first priority, as endorsed by the NEC, is that we have asked CACC to look at reductions or reallocations within the operating budget or the goods and services component of 4.6 billion kina. If we couldn't find savings there, or we found that some of those cuts might affect the efficiency and the operations of departments, then we've asked CACC to then look at personal emoluments and see whether we can have further reductions in that area, Mr. Speaker, and to then report back to NEC. If that became too tight and we're still looking for further cuts, then the final area in which we've advised CACC is to look at our PIP, which of course this government and the cabinet is very, very reluctant to reduce. But if push came to shove, if shove came to push came to shove, we'd look at that. So that's where we intend to make some budget cuts. In relation to his, I think that was the fourth question, on the tabling of the FBO, the final budget outcome, we'll be tabling that tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, in quite some details. And in relation to his fifth question, which numbers will I trust, those of my departments, or those from the IMF, or those from the Bank of Papua New Guinea, or those from the Australian Treasury, or those even from NRI? Mr. Speaker, I think the answer to that I've answered, and I'm happy to answer it again. The numbers that this government, or for that matter any government, should accept are the correct and accurate numbers. Now, Mr. Speaker, I thought we had resolved this issue, but it looks like we're going to have to visit it again, Mr. Speaker. The background to that query, and it's quite important, and I want to remind this House, where exactly was the starting point and where exactly were the issues as to the allegations of a fake budget. And for the purposes of, for the knowledge and information of members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, when the Marat-Stephen government took office about a year ago, the numbers of the previous government, that is the numbers of the O'Neill-Abel government, in relation to the deficit, that all-important number, the former government had budgeted 1.867 billion kina, Mr. Speaker, to which myself then and a group within the opposition had claimed that was a fake deficit number. The question then was who was correct. Then we came into office, the MAIFO, mid-year economic outcomes were tabled, and the deficit then had increased to 2,373 million, Mr. Speaker. So that number changed again. Then when the new government came into office, we conducted our now publicized due diligence exercise, and we, in that exercise, Mr. Speaker, let us not forget, we recruited and we requested the participation of a number of independent economists, including those from abroad that we felt could be independent or be deemed as independent, seen as independent. And the due diligence exercise unearthed and finally addressed the fake budget allegations, with the deficit number being announced at 4,586 million kina, something like a 300% anomaly in our deficit numbers. At that point in time, we all had a raging argument as to who was correct, the new government or the old government. So we agreed we needed to have an umpire. And that umpire, both sides agreed, would be the IMF. And so when the IMF came in and completed their due diligence, they ended up with a deficit of 4,636 billion kina, Mr. Speaker. So clearly, the allegations that had been put forward of fake budgets were verified and I thought finally resolved by the IMF. So using that as the starting point, which numbers would Treasury use? Well, clearly, Mr. Speaker, the correct and accurate numbers that have been resolved by the empire that both sides had agreed to. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. Going through his list of long-winded questions, I think I've answered number 6, jumping to number 7. What other conditions did the IMF place on this particular loan, which I'm now waiting for the Prime Minister to announce, but it's probably an open secret that we've complied with all of their requirements, and we'll be successfully drawing that down. But what other conditions are there? Well, Mr. Speaker, I've made it very clear what those conditions are already. It's a 10-year loan, condition number 1. 2, there is a 5-year repayment holiday, and the interest rates are 0, Mr. Speaker. There are no other conditions placed on this government, Mr. Speaker. And I want to assure members of this House, and I would want us not to be confused with the staff-monitored program which this government has entered into, together with this particular loan product. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. In relation to his 8th and final question on the devaluation of our kina, Mr. Speaker, I think the former Prime Minister, as a former Treasurer, would be acutely aware when we talk about the value of our currency, especially in relation to policy matters. It's something that we try not to speak openly because it is and can be deemed as being very irresponsible, Mr. Speaker, because if we're talking about whether government will or will not consider the devaluation or the revaluation of our kina, we're sending a signal out there to the private sector, to our businesses, that government might be tempering with it. And what happens? Well, if I'm a investor and I'm hearing that the government's talking about a devaluation, well, immediately, Mr. Speaker, I won't be sending my money back into the country, and thereby affecting direct foreign investment, which the former Prime Minister was so well renowned for promoting, as well as the Marat government, Mr. Speaker. So it's something that we really don't like to discuss openly, and I would like to extend an invitation to the former Prime Minister, if he'd like to meet me at Treasury on a Thursday at lunchtime, and two of us can sit down, and I'm more than happy to discuss with you some of the discussions that we've had to date, so that we both can develop an understanding, like you and I used to do back in the 1990s, in the good old days under Prime Minister Bill Skate. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. In relation to the GST, I wasn't really clear on that particular query, but happy if the Prime Minister could shoot that to me, and I can respond to him. Thank you.
Honourable members, time long. Haski minoga toksawe ya Bruce please. Iminao kam long ola papers. Honourable members, pursuant to statute, I present the report of the Auditor General of Papua New Guinea on the audit of the Gesell Restoration Authority for the year ended 31st December 2015. Chairman, Public Accounts.
Take note of the paper and the report be referred to the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Public Accounts.
The questions to the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Minister for Community Development.